Thank you, Mr. Lawson, for coming on the platform. Thank you so much. And
Yes,
yes,
my pleasure.
I told you earlier, when I think about seeing you on television, yes, I'm smiling. I smile when the show goes off. And I love the fact that you're a great entertainer. But I also love
Oh,
the fact that when I research the man behind the characters, you're quite interesting. So I'll start with
well, thank
saying
you.
thank you for your service. That
Oh,
made
thank you so
hours of
much.
work. Wow. Can you please
Mhm.
explain to us your philosophy of process, pivot, and proceed?
Yes, absolutely. Um, Process, pivot, and proceed has been the thing that has helped me to navigate my life and navigate my existence. Even as a little boy, when I grew up with a single mother, um, my mother worked 16 hours a day for 16 straight years. And she got tired, and sometimes I would go live with my aunt in Riverside, and then next year I would go to Oakland to live with my mother, and I went Riverside, Oakland, Riverside, Oakland, Riverside, Oakland, all the way up until the seventh grade. And and where then I was in Oakland through junior high and high school. And the fact that I had to, they were two completely different lives. One was a little boy in Riverside playing baseball, and the other one was being a surrogate parent and a surrogate husband for my mother and sister, and running the house and stuff. And so I had two completely different lives. And I would live in one and have to drop that, get on a Greyhound bus, and then have a whole nother existence, drop that, go back to kids to adult, from kid to adult. Um, you go to Vietnam, and you're dealing with the extremes of life, and you have friends, and you lose friends, and you make friendships, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're gone. And so, life has been a consistent challenge to be able to take the circumstances of life and process it. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to it and how you deal with it, how you pivot to, now that this is over with, sometimes taken away from you immediately, through circumstances, accidents, the unexpected. And then you have to pivot and create something, decide which way you're going to go, what you're going to do, pivot, and then proceed and get on with it. It's also radical acceptance. And my entire life has been about the radical acceptance of something, how I process it, pivot, and proceed to the next thing and let it go, and how I grieve forward. I have to grieve on the move. I can't I can't stop and just lament in my loss. I have to move and be on with life while and go through the grieving process. So process, pivot, and proceed.
I love it. I love it. Figure out what I got to do and keep it moving.
You got to keep it moving.
Yes, sir. Something else that caught my attention, one advocate to another advocate. Out of the many things that you could have chosen to advocate for, why mental health?
Well, part of the process of that process, pivot, and proceed is your mental health. What you do, it's not that you don't, again, it's not that you don't experience the loss of something, but in terms of how do you get on to the next thing? How do you get on in terms of dealing with defeat? How do you get, I'm in a business that's based upon no. No. I've I've had more than 5,000 no's in my life, in terms of the things you go audition for, and it's like, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you, you're not enough, you're this, you're that. And it's in terms of how do you process that, and how do you get yourself out of that hole? How do you manage loss? How do you manage the loss of love, the loss of life, the loss of your purpose, and those things, and how do you survive that, in terms of being able to not bury yourself under the covers with the, drawn, with the curtains drawn? How do you not bury yourself in substances or behavior that, how do you not eat it away? How do you not sex it away? How do you not buy it away? You know, how do you not anger it away? How do you stay present and then go forward? And then once you understand that and you've had the experience of recovering and rehabilitating yourself, that you then help other people, you give it away because I want people to understand that dreams don't have expiration dates, and that even though you may get knocked down, you can get up and recover and rehabilitate your dream. And that's all about mental health. It's all about, creating a community. It's all about staying connected to your purpose, which is your North Star, which is going to be here long after your body leaves this earth. Your purpose is going to live in others. And so it's like, the sense of eating correctly, and so that you are healthy. If you're healthy, you can make better decisions. You like yourself better. You live in your body better. If you work out and keep yourself upright and defy gravity, you can help other people. At the end of the day, our life is really going to be measured in how much service that we provide. It's in service. There you will see no U-Hauls following the hearse to the graveyard. The Chinese buried their whole fortune with them underground. The Japanese and the Asian people, they took their, you can feed armies
Mhm.
buried under the ground, depicting protection of the spirit. Here, it's in terms of creating a system and a belief in God that's helping to protect your spirit so that you can stay upright and defy gravity.
Wow. You know what, Mr. Lawson?
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
even more interesting than the characters I love that you play. I am wishing you the very best. Congratulations on your book.
Thank
I
you.
will be buying it, and I'm going to
Thank
hand
you.
this over to Cyrus Webb. Thank
Well,
you.
just to let you know, I have an audio book that is about to drop in
Okay.
about a week and a half. So be sure and do the audio book. It's a fun read. It's a fun listen, because the
Okay.
fact that, not only those words will jump off the page in the audio book.
Thank you.